everybody. How's it going? It's Thursday. I know it's Thursday because it's time for the show. It's 11 a.m. Central Time. Chris English, I saw you in there, and over there in I mean, I know you're in the UK, obviously, but where? Yorkshire? Is that what you said? Now I can't find it, but yes, West Yorkshire. That's awesome. I'll be back in England after QuiltCon for a little while. I don't know. I mean, Eric and I are figuring out what we're doing, but it may be that we come back to the States sooner than we thought. This has all been an experiment and related to Eric's work and just sort of, let's go on an adventure. And so we don't know. The adventure is still, in development. So, but that's kind of what's going on. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you again. And of course, Birmingham will happen. The Festival of Quilts. Chris English, everybody, if you don't know, Chris, if you would, did you put your Instagram in there already? Okay, cool. That'd be good. Chris is amazing. He's an amazing quilt maker, a professional in the quilt industry, and a great guide. I met him for the first time at the Birmingham Quilt Show this past summer. Do I have Nutella on my face? Oh, I do. Yeah, I totally do. Yeah. I didn't check that. You see, when I'm rushing around to get the quilt show together, the quilt, better look more closely. Wow. I'm glad I even thought of it. Maybe there's some left. I can get, a little bit left. When I'm really rushing to get the show ready, now I'm really concerned. Yeah. I have a great excuse to eat Nutella on a graham cracker because I hadn't had breakfast, and it's I have to. I mean, it's basically the only thing I could possibly eat before the show. So I was and I had chocolate on my face. That could be interesting. So Chris and I met at the Birmingham show last summer, and it was a great show. And the reason the Birmingham show, the Festival of Quilts, is so fantastic, it was my first time there. It's not a juried show. So anybody, I'm pretty sure, anybody can submit their quilt to be exhibited. And it was the most exciting quilt show I had seen, maybe ever. No, that's not true. I love pretty much any quilt show, but that one was really special because, I saw quilts that were very original, very, all the quilts are original. Okay. So I'm just I'm sort of second guessing, everything that comes out of my mouth because I'm oh no, maybe someone will misinterpret things that I say. It happens. It's happened a lot lately. So anyway, but I love all quilt shows. Every quilt is perfect. I love them. But at the Birmingham show, it was so inclusive. People who maybe would not get into another show because not every stitch was exactly perfect were in the Birmingham show and were celebrated. It was amazing. So, and we pitched an exhibit idea, an exhibit of Rod Kirikoff's, a few of his quilts from his amazing collection. The second edition of his book, his cult classic, Unconventional and Unexpected, American Quilts Below the Radar, 1950 to 2000, has been republished by Quilt Folk and Schiffer Publishing. So it's a good reason to have an exhibit in 2022 in Birmingham. So Chris, this is a very long-winded way to say hello, and I'm looking forward to getting back and working with you on that exhibit because Chris and I and Rod are all kind of working together to get that thing happening. And so that's great. And if you're in the UK, we're also doing some other speaking events. I almost said talking events. We're doing talking events around that time. So look for that and around your guilds and things. And if you want, me or Rod to speak, or Chris too, he's there all the time, but let us know. We'd be happy to talk to you about, visiting a guild or anything like that. So, Word and Bird Nerd, how's it going? Oh, you got the welcome basket for Chris. That's awesome. What if it wasn't that Christopher English? What if it was another one? And he's I don't know this person. I was playing a video game, and I just came over here, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, you're very welcome to be. You're embraced, right? Clearly. Cindy, hey, and Sewing Karen. You're sewing. This is great. It's a great way to watch this show, I think. The show can go really long. We hang out on this live stream and talk about quilts and related things. And if I wasn't hosting the show, I would really love to listen to it, kind of watch it, and while I was working on something. I think it's a good medium for that. So if you can do that, that's great. It may be, that you want to watch the show like this, but it's the nature of it is kind of lends itself to doing things, cleaning up, doing your life and having it on as entertainment in the background or in the mid foreground. So Kitty Hannah, hello. Holmes, I want to thank all my mods. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Holmes, Mahomes, and Robin, and Word and Bird Nerd, and Myra. Oh no, you had trouble leaving a message. That's weird. I'm glad it happened there. So I've got, announcements and things, and but I want to say hi to folks. M. Hicks and Miscellany, hello. And let's see. Yes, everybody. Okay, I think we have the right Chris English because I think you're responding. Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. And Sandy, hey Sandy, you're at work. We won't tell. I mean, I don't know what kind of work you do, but I mean, if you have any connect, if there's any way you can rope in, the history or, to your work, just be like, it's research. I have to do this. If you're like, an accountant doing, tax things right now, which is possible, that's going to be tough. But I don't know. You can be like, I'm working with a client and she has questions. You can pretend it's me. You're like, I have to watch your show because I'm doing her taxes. Theodore, hello. Thanks for the music. Molly Squared and Ivy Kadivy. And let's see, Quilting Politic. It's so good to see you. Liquid Sunshine in Seattle. It's awesome. Hey, and it's Jonathan. Hi. Glad to see you. Very glad. I mean, I'm looking into the void, but I see you. I'm really glad you're here. Pen Burrito, how's it going? I also want to say that the chat on the Discord, the discourse on the Discord has been really great. And I appreciate it. I mean, it's been a crazy week. And I see folks, sharing with Chris, there's this kerfuffle, right now, you could call it that. I shared, if I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. I'll be able to say hi to you as the show goes on, hopefully, if you say hello in the chat or say something in the chat. Joyce Fibers, hey, how's it going? Christine is here and Yvonne is here. It's great. Sewing Report, hey, I'm holding up okay. And Marianne, hi, my other friend in the UK. So, Kay, hello. And okay, so let me, I'll like I said, I'll catch anybody I missed as we go along. So yeah, I posted a video on Monday. No, sorry. I posted it, I think, on Friday. Yeah, I posted it on Friday about quilts and fashion. Specifically, the practice of cutting up vintage quilts and antique quilts for use in fashion garments and accessories. I worked a long time on that video. I know you all who have been in the show know that because I was talking about it forever. I'm like, oh my God. Working on that thing, and before that working on the article for QuiltCon magazine, and now I'm working on the lecture that I'm doing on it, which has changed somewhat. And the response to the video has been, I mean, it's really been a lot. It's been big. I didn't know what to expect. I did not. And that's not me being, falsely modest. I was like, I don't know if people care what I have to say about this. I'm like, I didn't push publish and be like, here we go. But it has really exploded. And unfortunately, which is amazing. I like that a lot. And I want to say a few words about it, but I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I want to make sure I'm speaking about it in the right forum. I posted on my Instagram news today that the video is now watchable again on my YouTube channel. It wasn't because, hey Viv, did I say hi to you? You're in Leeds? I didn't know that. That's great. Hey Faith. And an unmaker. Awesome. Also working. You naughty girl. So I posted on my Instagram that the video is back up. It received a copyright strike on Monday. And that means that someone was contesting my use of an image from her website. And briefly, now that it's resolved, I didn't want to talk about it while it was still like in, when it hadn't been resolved. But fair use is a thing that protects videos like mine on the internet. My video is cultural commentary or criticism, and so it's okay for me to use images in that specific way, and you could read about fair use and all of that, why that applies here. But it does apply, and I submitted my counterclaim to YouTube stating that my rationale for being able to use it was fair use. And YouTube essentially agreed with me. They complied with my counterclaim or whatever. Now, the way it works with YouTube is that the person who makes the copyright strike, once YouTube says, yeah, we agree with the person with the counterclaim, we accept that person has 10 to 14 days to determine if they're going to take me to court over the matter. And if they decide not to do that, the video will be reinstated after that time period passes. YouTube will let the video go live again. But the person can retract the strike before that if they choose to, and then the video will go live. I'm really happy to say that I had a cordial discussion with the person, and she agreed. We, made an agreement about getting the video back up sooner. And so she did all the stuff. I really appreciated it. It was awesome. And I thanked her, and I thank you again. And so then it took like 24 hours for YouTube to do their thing, but it got resolved yesterday. Hey, Bip. And so it's back up there. Okay. There is the discussion online. I mean, it's really, God, the internet is broken. I mean, it's really broken. And the feedback that I've gotten, I'm not reading the comments in these. I mean, there's conversations in Sakwa world, there's conversations in the garment sewing world for sure, in the modern quilt guild world, Facebook. It's wild, and there are people who really want me to respond, demanding that I respond, which is kind of weird. It's like, God, but I caused quite a stir, and there are consequences for that, and I know that. So I don't regret anything. So because of that, because of my resolve, I am very willing, and I want to respond. I want to engage with this, because some of the things that people have been saying are fascinating and amazing. I never set out to be a gatekeeper. That was a word a friend of mine used, which is exactly right. I mean, I don't want to be a gatekeeper like, okay, you're either this way or you're this way on this issue. It is a nuanced discussion. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating discussion. It's a very tricky thing we're dealing with here. That's why the internet, the quilt sewing internet, whatever, has really blown up over this, and people are furious at me. And I mean, I'd be furious at me too. I came pretty hard for these people and what they're doing, because I care about it a lot. I guess I do want to speak on this a little bit. Yeah, I know Eric's been filtering, and you all too. Have been filtering for me, which I mean, I'm not going into those comments to be hated on, and anyway, but I do want to respond. And Sewing Report, you mentioned in my Instagram post, I said that I'm really looking forward to talking about it, but I'd rather do it with people, live, maybe, or at least IRL, in real life. There's more humanity in a discussion that is between two people or many people, whatever, not a mob, that would be bad. But I'd like to engage with my peers, my people, my sewing people, the textilians. That would be great. And so maybe there's panel discussions that can happen. And I just want to let everybody know I'm more than willing, if someone wants to invite me to be on a panel or something, please ask me. I would be fine doing that. I mean, it would be, if the situation is right, if the opportunity seems like the right thing, and it's moderated and it's sane, 1,000%, I'll do it. I don't know if I want this to be like my thing. It's like, it might be too late, that it's like I'll always be this person who like came hard for this particular practice. It'll die down eventually, maybe sooner than later. I don't know. It's the way the internet is. but right now it's the drama, and so I'm very willing to talk on a panel or something. I mean, there's this show, maybe I'd have help producing it, whatever. But I also, maybe I make a follow-up video or something. But I'm not gonna go into these comment sections. There's so many now anyway. Where would I start? It's weird too because it's not my entire mission exactly. It's like, oh shit, I'm always gonna be that chick. But that's okay. I'll just like find another thing that I care really passionately about, and maybe that'll become like I'm this like rabble rouser. It's like, oh, Mary Fons posted another video. Who's she mad at now? But what's interesting, and I do want to say just a couple things. I really need to talk about it. Gah. And I'm trying to look at the chat too to see if people have some different questions. But this is not, I have to say, this is not the time that I'm going to start saying, well, what about this and what about this? And I see your point. I just need to talk about what's happening in this apartment. Like what's been happening. The thing that's been really interesting is how many people, not a lot of people, but a number of people, men and women, have told me that my tone and that I've been aggressive, that I was aggressive in my tone, and that I should have softened what I was saying, that I was not being diplomatic. And who are you to do, well, that's sort of the argument now. People have said, your tone was all wrong and you should have softened your thing. There's ways to be more sort of affable about it. And I've never really felt in my life, I don't think, that I'm, because I'm a woman, someone has told me to, calm down, honey, just lower your voice. And that kind of thing it's sort of like, the definition of pornography, right? It's hard to define it, but you know it when you see it. And I kind of feel like that. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to describe or define or give an example of when, you're being told to sit down and lower your voice but I know it when I feel it. I think that's what's going on. So that's really interesting. I did not expect that. It's weird. So that's interesting. And then also, people, I think, because I'm not reading all that. And by the way, you should know that people, my friends here through the show, and I know from other women, Molly, it's tone policing. I know. It's like, oh God. What's also true is people are bringing me these arguments, and I've told them, like, bring me. In fact, Susanna wrote this amazing DM to me, sort of going through the arguments that are rising to the top. It's invaluable. I'm so here for that. I want to know. And I pictured myself actually like writing down like my responses to those kinds of things, or just puzzling them out, thinking them through, and like having note cards, like when I was in debate team, that one time in middle school. Although the trouble with that kind of, saying that is that I did not mean to start a war. I didn't. That might surprise people. Are you kidding me? No way. I wanted to, the war is happening out there. This is like the conflict is really getting crazy out there. But that's not what my intention was. My intention, and I understand through my couriers or my messengers that it's been said that, how dare I tell people what to do? You must stop doing this. Oh my God. I have no control over your life. That you would listen to me at all would be a surprise, It's a rhetorical device to say, you must stop this. It's 22 minutes of me sharing my opinion, which I have formed over years at this point. I'm not a person that spouts off online. I don't have Twitter. I'll never have it. A lot of people, that's their hobby to, online, and I hate it. This was something that, it's, if my tone is assertive and confident, it's because I am confident, and it's provocative for sure. But to make that video softer or something would be untrue for me. So anyway, it's been very interesting. And hey, Dee Marie, I don't know if I saw you. And let's see, Dee Marie says, it's your words, your production, your editing. No one else has to defend it but you. Yeah, I'm not the arbiter of what Mary should or should not say, much less how she should say it. It's really the case. And yeah, Marianne, men are allowed to be robust, but women are shrewish, not fair. Yeah, the scold's bridle, put on the scold's bridle. How dare you say that? So that's really been interesting. The frustration too, it's crazy. I put this in my Instagram post. Apparently, well, a lot of people haven't watched it, which was impossible for like 4 days. It was so frustrating. Maybe it was good. It cooled things down. But I think it was bad because people couldn't watch it. They were speculating about what I said. No. And even when they could watch it, and now they can too, people admitted that they hadn't watched the whole thing, which is like, that's hard. But that's the way the internet is. That's the way YouTube is. Believe me, the video was like 45 minutes originally, So, and I kept it that short. I could say much more, this manifesto that I'm writing, and I hope I can get it done before QuiltCon. I don't know if it's even a good idea now. I don't know. But it had a lot more to say about art, what I feel about quilts being used in art pieces and stuff. It had, but how much can I put in one video? People will lose interest, So it's hard that people aren't actually watching it. But what's crazy is apparently a big problem that people have is that they think I said that no quilt motifs, like zero quilt patterns or anything, should be used in clothes. Like, no. I'm talking about cutting up vintage and antique quilts for clothes. That there would be like a patchwork jacket that I would be like, that is a cultural appropriation. Oh my God. That's crazy. So that was the one I felt like I had to address in the Instagram post, just to be like, there's a lot of things going on that are not the case, with the video. But that one is important because it's fundamental to the whole discussion. So, yeah, I mean, just people who haven't watched it, it's like really, really hard. Yeah, and Kitty Hannah, no other folk art would be okay to destroy for fast fashion. And it's not a perfect video by a long shot, I wish. It was as perfect as I could get it, and it's still imperfect. But when I said, I can't think of another thing that we do that with, that we destroy, just because, it seems like, a trend or something we want to experience or explore. What I was meaning is like material culture, like objects of material culture, pottery, baskets, weavings. And now people are starting to do it with different, overshot coverlets and things, and Navajo blankets and things, starting to cut those up too. But that's what I meant. And I think I haven't read it, and no one's brought it to me yet. I need to read all of Susanna's DM because she may mention it in there. But I think people are saying, we do that with, different aspects of American culture are totally, absconded with or destroyed to make something else. But I don't know that people are literally smashing pottery to make earrings, maybe intact pottery. And someone was saying, no, I have a friend who uses shards of pottery in his art. And I was like, does he smash pots? I mean, I wasn't being, contentious. I was like, does he really? Because I want to know that. Like, that's really interesting. And he's like, no, he goes to the people at the college or something, who have failed pots, they're failed potteries, and they give them all the shards. And I was like, yeah, they're already broken. So, but I didn't say that, I didn't make it clear that I was talking not about music, for example, or, something else in culture that's being chopped up somehow or appropriated somehow. So that, that's a failure. I think, I don't know. Yeah, a sweater made like with granny squares crochet. No, it's totally good. No, it's great. I mean, the granny squares, like, well, did she make it or, oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for the crocheters. I better stick to my lane on the quilts, but Kelly says, funny that some of those very people who critiqued your video and want to cancel you here in the U.S. seem to be disregarding your First Amendment right to speak your opinion. Yeah, it's true. And, oh yeah, and M. Hicks, those of us going to QuiltCon should be prepared for a lot of people to be wearing quilt coats to Mary's lecture and protest. 1,000%. And, I liked a lot of posts that people had where they were wearing their quilt coats. Once again, starting a war, not what I wanted to do. To be assertive and make a very clear statement, as clear as I can make it about this issue, to me, sparked the conversation. If I had been softer about it, I think people would they would dislike me anyway, but it wouldn't have maybe started this discussion. And it's so robust, this discussion, that it's clearly not about me. It isn't. I mean, yes, it is. It's your fault. You started this, you opened Pandora's box. But it would not be the topic of conversation still at the level, the fever pitch that it is at, if it was just about me being a jerk. Because who cares? Like, it'd be like, oh, she's the worst, like, hate her. And then move on. But it's the issue. It's the issue of the thing. It's this question, is this right or wrong? In 2022, when it's so rampant, it's changed the landscape of quilt clothes, because it's been around a long time, but now there's this change, and it's really a lot of quilts that are being, So I know that it's, people, cancel me or whatever. I don't know. Like, I have so many other things I'm doing and I'm working on. So, and that's why it's like, oh man, this is probably going to follow me for a really long time. But I want to write our book. I want to write about Bertha Mextroth. What about her? So I'll be moving along. But I'm afraid I won't be able to completely leave this until it's kind of done with me to some extent. I like I said, and maybe this is when we can move on too, but I take full responsibility for that video, and I wouldn't change anything. The title was clickbait, because if you want people to click on your video, using smart clickbait, there's like really bad clickbait and there's good clickbait. There's a wonderful video on it on YouTube. Veritasium is the channel name. It's this really great guy. He does like science videos and stuff, and he examined clickbait and really said, what is it? Is it bad? Should you use it? And the conclusion that he drew was 1,000%. If you're a content creator, you need people to click on your video. So having a really good title that grabs their attention or makes them, they click on it. So if I had said quilt clothes, ? Stop cutting up quilts for clothes is for sure like, want to click on this? That's my job. I mean, even if I just made one video, it would be my job to make it a good video that people would click. I think, I came for some of these people, their business. That's a lot. If somebody came, I think I mentioned this the other day, maybe it was on a Zoom call or something, but Eric told me he's listening to podcasts, and this philosopher was speaking on how people feel joy when they feel safe. When they feel safe, it's like, I've got my family and I'm happy, or like, I've got I've got a warm cup of tea and I'm in my sewing room and I just feel wonderful, because you feel safe. And so when you don't feel safe, it's very scary. And so, I came for these designers who were doing this, and I don't want to make it be more of a thing than it was for them, but it's clear that I think it's fair to say that I might have made them feel unsafe. And when people make me feel unsafe, I get pretty mad too, or I get like, the bangs come out. So it's completely natural that they would do it. So that's kind of the deal. Susan. Hey, Susan, by the way. Hit me, no one was reading the text attached to your YouTube video. That added context to what you were saying. Yeah, it's an effective headline. Exactly, Cindy. Totally, Sewing Report. What about a panel debate with you? And I would say panel. I would. The word debate, it takes us in the other direction. But a panel discussion, a conversation about this with someone who makes quilt clothes as a business. Oh yeah. I mean, I think that would make sense. Or somebody who, like maybe someone who makes clothes. I would want more than 2 people, because then it is like a, I'm on this side, you're on that side. But of course, yeah, for sure. I'd be totally down. Hey, Prairie Susie. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Old quilts are not safe for me. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh, yeah, okay. So I am going to, so now let's move on to another thing that's really important. I think I am not very smart because this change to the watching reruns or watching the recordings of these shows, the Quilt Nerd shows, I've changed that. Doing that this week. Why did I do that this week? I don't know. Maybe I was like, like, doesn't matter now. I'm actually feeling quite strong and sort of calm. I'm like, what else can I do to have people pretty mad at me? And I don't want to find out, but it could happen because I'm just like, sort of like I smoked something. I'm just like, that's fine. I feel safe, really. But yeah, so you know, and I'll just say this because it's so important. It's like more important than anything. I've never owned a business before. I've been a freelancer my whole life, and that's like I have my own business, LLC or whatever. But I've never. I've always been working for someone else, under contract for someone else. So yeah. So I this enterprise, this little thing, is my first entrepreneurial experiment, endeavor, and it's live in front of everybody, and it's like learning as I go. I did not have a business plan, and maybe I should have, but I was like, I don't know, Twitch, let's give it a try. This is fun. I love content and sharing it. That was about as far as I got. In business school, they would probably tell me that was a bad idea. So I'm figuring out, you know, the subscriber thing on this. Maybe I should have prioritized it sooner, probably. But, you know, some different subscribers were asking, you know, were like, we subscribe, but then as soon as the shows are over, they go up on the Twitch page. So really, you know, what you're getting for your subscription is, you know, emoticons, which is fun. You get the emotes and things, but you know, and you also get no ads, which is good. You don't have to watch ads, which are turned on and they're annoying, so you don't have to do that. And you get entered in giveaways, and we have one coming up. We'll talk about later in the show. So there are things, but it does make sense that it's like, you know, we're supporting the show, subscribing to the show, and maybe it doesn't feel, and definitely at the second tier, the $9.99 tier, you know, that's $10 a month. It's not nothing. Neither is $5 a month, but you can always have a free subscription to this show through Amazon Prime. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch subscription every month, and you can subscribe to this show, which I hope you will. And then you get all that stuff. No ads and all that. But one of the perks I could do for the subscribers is to make the videos on demand for subscribers. So here on Twitch, you can watch all those past shows anytime you want, just like always. And it's a perk for you. So it's an added benefit to being a subscriber. I got a message yesterday. If you are watching, I cannot find it. I don't know if it was on Twitch. I don't know if it was on an Instagram post. I mean, I cannot find it. And I really want to talk to you. I mean, I want to respond to you. But I don't know where your message is. And the message was, not cool, Mary Fons. You know, I've been supporting you from the beginning. I shared about your show on my social media. And now, you know, you're taking away my ability to watch it. So thanks a lot. I was like, that, you know, like, no, I have to, oh God. So I'd like to, you know, respond to you, but I don't know where your message is. Anyway, the video on demand, you know, the I'm going to say reruns, okay? It's just what my brain wants to do. The reruns of the show on Twitch will be viewable by subscribers at any level. The shows will be uploaded to YouTube, however, just not right away. Like, there's like a week delay maybe on that because it makes sense to me. And I think, well, and just like there was a problem with people thinking I was against like all quilt motifs on all clothes, I don't think I made it clear that for subscribers, nothing changes. You guys are completely the same. It's the, and I think one person thought that you couldn't watch the show if you weren't a subscriber. You could always watch the show. Anyone can watch the show. Always. The show is always here. It's always free. It's this other stuff. It's the reruns. It's the membership, the giveaways and stuff that will be the subscription program. So the show is accessible always. And God, if that wasn't clear, that maybe that's why the person was so upset, because that would be the worst if it was like, oh, you have to pay me to watch this. No way. That, and you mark my words here on February 3rd, 2022, that will never happen. The show will always be accessible to anyone. I mean, if I didn't, how would I get subscribers anyway? You have to watch the show to know, like, you're like, I would like to support this show or not. So, I mean, I might have screwed the pooch on that one, just not being clear about it. But anyway, so that's the deal. And like I said, this week, I mean, what else can I do? What would you like me to do to make this, make this week really weird? But it's also been a good week. I mean, if I know at this point in my life, this sounds so cheesy. I know at this point in my life when I'm growing. I do, and I'm growing. And it hurts. So that's the video's back online. We talked about that. Thank you for letting me talk about it, because a lot of that stuff's been in my head, and it's nice to say it out loud in a safe space. Subscriber stuff, I talked about that a little bit. Oh, the next thing to do is, for the love of God, make a trailer for the show. I can have one, I think 60 seconds. The yodeling. Yeah, I thought I might learn yodeling online. Live. And all the shows are eventually on YouTube, correct. There's a suggestion that maybe they're edited down a little bit. I have not decided about that. I do not know what that would look like, so that is not a thing. They will all be on YouTube eventually. There's a lag now, right? There's not new content on YouTube because this thing is now in place. So within a week, next week, the shows will be on YouTube for free. Yeah, I think that is that for now. But yeah, you can always watch the show, and you can get a free subscription through Amazon. All right, okay. Yeah, Prairie Susie. I think this is Mary Keeps You Company, this show. I did some videos on YouTube. Mary Keeps You Company. But really, I wanted to do this. And it's hopefully keeping people company. I think it is. All right. So it's Black History Month. And that's great. And so this month in particular, I'm going to focus on quilts and quilt makers in America and beyond, people of color. Hey, Noah Stevens is cool. Noah Stevens is cool. I don't even know you, and I know you're cool. I mean, come on. Like, if you put it in your name, it has to be true. There are people in this chat, in this show, who have nerd in their name, and it's true. So, and I have Mary Fons in my name, and that's true too. I'm that person. So people of color, specifically Black people, people of African descent, Haitian. I'm going to do my best to find content, including content today. We have some emphasis on that because it's Black History Month, so that's awesome. And then the last thing, the Abe Books affiliate link. I tried to get it set up today. It won't let me log into the thing. So as soon as I have the Abe Books affiliate link, I'm going to share it in the Discord. And because there's a lot of books. There's a book on every show that you could buy used, and if you buy through the affiliate link, that's great. The last thing, and then we go, this is my lane. Yes, that's right. Okay. Person spoke on Discord. Okay, good. Thanks, Word and Bird Nerd. The last thing is, we'll talk about the giveaway later. Tomorrow is Quilter's Newsletter Friday. It's the third time we're doing this, and it's really fun. So we're going to read an issue from 1999. I do not have an issue from 1999. I think it was Cheyenne who said that you have all of them. I mean, there's several people who probably have all the issues, but I got to get one of those scanned. And if my mom's watching, Mom, if you're in the chat, you can help me, but you helped me last time. So if somebody else is willing to scan an issue from 1999, that would be great. And we have time, it could be today, it can be tomorrow morning or something. Tomorrow night's show is at 7 p.m. Central, and I have to get everything set up in the program that I'm using and all that stuff. But if you're able, I know Quilters Newsletter Friday, right on time, right? We can have some fun. If you have one of those, will you DM me on the Discord, and we could do like a Zoom call? Because if you have a bunch of them, maybe we could just check them out together, and so I can see like, oh yeah, let's do that particular issue. November, December is really good. Just kind of flip through. Wouldn't take too long, but see which one we would want to do. Quilters Newsletter Saturday morning for those of you in Europe. It's true. Oh, that sounds really nice. Like I'd bring cinnamon buns. If we were in person for Quilters Newsletter Saturday morning, there would be cinnamon buns. I don't know why cinnamon buns, but that's what it would be, and hot coffee and tea, of course, tea. Yeah, let's see. Kelly says, I think there are some buggy things in Streamlabs versus the other main streaming platforms a lot of Twitch content providers use. Some of them use StreamYards, which I looked at and they're pretty bleh. Streamlabs OBS tends to be the one, I looked at all of them, and this one seemed to be the one that was most recommended, but there are other ways to, and what I mean by Streamlabs is the platform I use to put the show on Twitch. But anyway, yeah, I'm always, if something else worked better, I would definitely use it. So that's that. So please DM me on Discord if you have Quilters newsletters from 1999, and we'll figure out which one we'll read tomorrow. I will have a glass of wine with me, close to me. Yeah. So let's see here. Let's talk about some quilts. Oh my God, the quilt that's behind me today. Quilt School Library. Oh my God, for cake and quilt. Yes, there would be cake. By the way, my mods, I don't know if I even told you, you're hall monitors, right? You're moderators, but you're hall monitors here at Quilt Nerd. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. So this quilt I saw when I was, let me get small, hang on. How about small? This book, we looked at a marvelous book, a marvelous quilt from this book not long ago. Hey, Leslie Levy. It's Leslie Levy. I'm so glad you followed. I'm so glad you're here. That is awesome. Jonathan's here too. Very excited. We got to get the whole crew in here. So this book is really, really good. Sorry, it's so weird with the green screen. Quilts of the Ohio Western Reserve. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite books. It is a quilt church book. This is the book that had, the quilt that was just divine. Hang on. This one was the intro quilt a few episodes ago. Remember this one? So good. So very good. Well, there's a lot of tabs. It's a good book if I got a lot of tabs. So when I was looking through this thing, I tabbed this quilt. And what's awesome about this quilt is there's a picture of the maker too. I'm going to show you the picture of the maker because it's like the best picture I've ever seen. It's this beautiful portrait of this beautiful woman in her garden with beautiful flowers. Beatrice Mitchell. I don't know. I think it looks like a quilt pole picture. It's beautiful. So this is Beatrice Mitchell, who made the quilt that we're going to look at. And this is from the Quilts of the Ohio Western Reserve by Ricky Clark. And it was published in, when was it published? 2005. Okay. With the little, with the little pond. Yeah, that quilt with the little pond. And I think it was S.J. Pepper that said something rude about the little angel up in the sky. Was it you? Oh no, SJ, you have to go to a work meeting right when it was getting good. Sorry, Beatrice. Love your quilt. See you, nerds. Bye, SJ. I'm glad you heard me mention you for being bad. That's like SJ Pepper's exit music. The other thing we really have to talk about who's going to QuiltCon and meeting up. I mean, we obviously have to do that. So maybe I'll make a channel. I should make a QuiltCon channel in the Discord. I'll do that. That makes sense. Because I was like, that. What made me think of it is SJ Pepper. Will we meet face to face? QuiltCon Discord. Oh God, I'm so glad that I'm here right now. It's really nice. Okay, so let's read about this quilt. It'll be a good place for everybody who's going to connect. Okay. Beatrice Mitchell from Ravenna in Portage County has been quilting since she was 7 years old. She is also a poet, a nurse, a teacher, a writer for her local newspaper, and a 4-H worker. Beatrice designs all her quilts except for 9-patch quilts she uses in her grade school classes. Quote, "I like to think there's a story with each quilt," she said, unquote, and she finds or creates them. In 1999, Beatrice's nephew, Paul, retired from the U.S. Navy. Beatrice decided to make him a quilt in honor of this important event. She designed and made a quilt filled with symbols. The cotton fabrics are all red, white, and blue, symbolizing the United States. And she appliqued and quilted nautical motifs in the center area, including ships, anchors, and waves. As she was quilting it, Beatrice realized that her quilt symbolized not only her nephew's vocation, but also their family history. Beatrice and Paul are African Americans. Their ancestors were enslaved in Africa and taken by ships to America. Paul's quilt, therefore, is doubly symbolic. When Beatrice realized this, she had nearly completed the quilt. She decided, however, to change some of her quilting motifs. Instead of the waves she had originally planned to put in the center, that she had originally planned to put in the outer borders, she quilted slave chains. She also describes the large anchors she quilted as anchors of hope, with rays in the center. That's a quote. The large anchors she quilted as, quote, anchors of hope, with rays in the center. We are still here. We are anchored here. We have hope here, unquote. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, right, it's really beautiful. And, I mean, it's just exquisitely made, and it's just a great quilt, and then this symbolism for her heritage and her nephew. I mean, obviously it was like, well, I'm not waiting to show that one. And today is a great day to do it. So, Quilt Can Live. I thought about it. Maybe. A nun maker. My nephew is going through Marine boot camp and then on to SEAL training. Oh, wow. I've been thinking about a quilt for him when he finishes training. I have a couple of years. That's good. This one is not, the boats, the sailboats. We should talk about sailboat. There's a lot of boat quilts out there. Boats. That's my note. Boats. Quilt Nerd content plan. Boats. Oh, by the way, you see the reference? I always have a reference, like a quick reference for me to remember kind of what the show was. And, that's the reference for today. All right. So, okay. And by the way, I Googled Beatrice Mitchell to see if I could find her poetry. The name of the quilt is Paul's Quilt. And I didn't tell you how big it is. One second. I looked to see if because the description or the bio of Ms. Mitchell, she's also a poet, a nurse, a teacher, a writer for her local newspaper. So I guess I didn't Google the newspaper in Ravenna. So that's possible. But I was like, oh, maybe she's a published poet. I didn't find anything. It doesn't mean that there isn't that, but I found a couple anthologies of African American poets, and I didn't see her name in there. So maybe she was a poet in her life and did not seek publication or whatever. But I did look. And okay, so the quilt is called Paul's Quilt, and it was made in 1999, and it's 72 by 72. Yeah, boat quilts. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's the quilt for today. I love the royal blue of it. I love the royal blue of it, and I love the story of it. It's really great. Okay, so I had a today, of course, like the day that I did not need a problem, I had a problem because today we're gonna look. Let me just tell you, we're gonna look at quilts from Wales today and North Country quilts. So my UK friends, I should have told you that at the top of the show. I mean, it's for you. This is for you. The show is for you. It's for everybody, but that's gonna be in the show today after another segment. And Beatrice Kelly is from Ohio. So these quilts this quilt that you're seeing from Beatrice, and the other one we looked at the other day is quilts of the Ohio Western Reserve. So, and Ravenna, Ohio is where she's from. Anyway, we're going to talk about Welsh quilts. And what I didn't know is that Welsh, it's complicated. and I was like, oh, I need to get like a brief history of Wales. A brief history of Wales doesn't exist. I mean, that's a long... There's not a brief history of Wales. If you find one, actually send me the link in the chat because that would be good. I wanted to have some sort of primer on Wales, but England's really old and there's a lot going on there. But as I was pulling together Welsh quilts, it became abundantly clear that there are Welsh quilts and there are North Country quilts or Durham quilts, which Durham quilts should probably be called North Country quilts. So I found myself trying to figure out, becoming a on-the-fly, a person who could on-the-fly tell you about the difference between Welsh quilts and Durham or North Country quilts. It was very confusing, and like I say many times on this show, in case you're not a viewer, or if you're a new viewer, this isn't a presentation. I gather this material, this content, and we look at it together. So I don't have to be an expert. We can figure it out together. We can learn today about these things. But it was like on the day that I could have made it easier on myself, I didn't. So we'll see how we do. But that's coming up. Before we get there, I want to show you some paintings briefly. I want to show you some paintings. we're going to talk about Jen Jones for sure. Sonia, immigrant, father's father, so your grandpa immigrated from Wales. That's awesome. Wales is not in England. I know, Stokey. I know. I do know that, but I did say it was in England. England's really old, and Wales is very old, and Ireland. Your favorite Welsh quilts. Yeah. I've got some really good ones. So I have this. I have a folder for this person named Leslie Barlow. This woman. She's an artist, and her name is Leslie Barlow. And this is a quilt. This is a painting that she made. And sometimes, we talk about quilts all the time, and we haven't talked about art with quilts in it in a little while. And I was like, I'd like to look at some paintings today. And so I thought we'd look at a few. There's maybe six or so of this artist's work, 6 paintings that we can see. This painting is called Ellen Barlow. And it was made 2018, 2019. This person who makes these paintings is very young, and I think no one is cooler than her. You'll see. I have some pictures of her in just a second. But what's interesting, and this was kind of this moment today, because we just saw a quilt. Well, Beatrice made that quilt, Paul's quilt, for her nephew, But I was like, you know, a mother figure holding a child of another generation, you know, African American. I was like, it was a little bit like, yeah, like that. But look at these quilt blocks in this painting. And I mean, I love her paintings. And of course, you know, I don't love all the paintings that I see, but I feel like she's quite talented and I like her work a lot. So this one is called, this one's also, this is Grandmother and Child, and it was painted in 2018. And I've got a YouTube video queued up so we can hear, oh no, I'm big, no. Oh no, I gotta get, no. How did I miss that? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If that's the worst thing to have happen today, I can't see the clip. Can't wait to see it, Mary. Damn. All right. Well, the good thing is that I was telling you about Leslie Barlow mostly, and not like analyzing the painting or anything. So now it's better. Okay, so this is the first painting. With the delay, there's a slight delay on the chat, so I know some of you are feeling, you're like, get small, and I have now gotten small. Anyway, so this is Leslie Barlow's work, and it's called Ellen Barlow 2018. Kitty Hannah, we're going to look at whole cloth quilts for sure in the Welsh section of the show. So there's this painting, and down here, let's take a look here, zoom in a little bit. It's interesting because this is like a memory quilt, right? Photographs. I've never had a yen to make a quilt with, with photo, screen printed like photos and things. Have any of you done that? Taken that approach to a family quilt or a memory quilt? Tell me what you think. I've seen them in person, but I've never made one. And then there's this one. Which that one got the Twilight Zone music because I felt that there was kind of a theme that was carried over from the opening quilt today. But yeah, I mean, I think, and as I was looking at her stuff on her website, and I'll show you that in just a minute, there's, I don't know, I feel like the evolution of her, like some of her earlier works and her works now, you clearly see, like, she's just getting, like, better and more awesome, like, as time goes on, which, she's a true artist. She's, like, progressing in her stuff. So this quilt this painting is called Grandmother and Child, and it was made in 2019. Okay. And this one, adorable, is also called Grandmother and Child. Now, I'm going to read to you from her website, her bio. This. Where did it go? Hang on. I'm here. No one. It's okay. I'm right here. I haven't left. Yes. Okay. I'm back. Okay, so here's who Leslie Barlow is. I think this is her. Wait a minute. Hang on. I'm going to find her picture. This is Leslie Barlow. I mean, I'm telling you, nobody's cooler than her. No one's cooler than her. Leslie Barlow is an artist living and working on occupied Ocheti, Sakoan, and Wapekute land, now known as Minneapolis, Minnesota. Barlow is interested in reimagining our relationship to our racial identities through healing our collective understanding of belonging and what it means to be family. Her life-size oil paintings serve as both monuments to community members, an exploration into how race entangles the intimate sphere of love, family, and friendship. Her work is colorful, tender, and nuanced, and inspired by community dialogue and personal experience. Barlow received her BFA from University of Wisconsin Stout and MFA from Minneapolis College of Art Design. Then they kind of list some of her accomplishments, and she's got art placed in the U.S. Bank Stadium and stuff like that. She's doing well, it appears. The collaborative work Barlow does with other artists and folks in the community is integral to her studio practice. Barlow teaches at the University of Minnesota and leads the Public Functionary Studio program for emerging artists. She occasionally teaches community classes and workshops and holds public lectures. So yes, in 2017, she joined a team of organizers. This is her in her studio. So cool. An artist to plan the first ever Midwest Mixed Conference, which has now grown into the organization Midwest Mixed with ongoing programming. In 2020, in response to the murder of George Floyd, Barlow became a part of the collective Creatives After Curfew, creating public art. I think I've got a picture of her doing public art. Just a minute. In solidarity with the uprising, calls for police abolition and all Black Lives Matter. And so this one I really love. So quilts play a part in her work. I think this is really neat. And there's a short video we're gonna watch. I think it's 4 minutes or something, because we can listen to her talk about her work. I don't know that she'll talk about the quilt motifs or not, but I thought it would be interesting to hear from her. So that is what we're gonna take a look at. I don't know, textiles just really figure into her stuff. So she does a lot of paintings and work about mixed, race, people mixed race, and the relationships between people with different racial backgrounds. And I don't know. I think it's great. I've had that picture in my folder for a really long time, that picture of the woman and the child in the quilt blocks. And I wanted to share it. I thought it was a good transitional piece of the show. I don't know. Felt good. So that's Jen Jones. So let's just, that's Leslie Barlow. So let's take a look at this briefly. No, that's not what I want. Oh yeah. Can I do that? No, I can't. Okay, I gotta do this first. Cool. All right. This is her website. Yeah. You see another painting that's sort of, I don't know, it's got kind of a patchwork sort of thing. I mean, not every picture or piece of fashion, that has like, a patchy kind of situation is quilt-like, I know, but it's definitely in her stuff. Okay, let's take a look. This is a 3-minute, 41-second video and this was done from the Minneapolis Institute of Art. So I thought it was a fitting thing for us today. Okay, let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Leslie Barlow, and the show is called Within, Between, and Beyond. What the show is now in its current state is 16 paintings of people who self-identify as mixed race, multiracial, or transracial or transnational adoptees, and then also corresponding kind of mini docs that are from the voices of these participants. So their personal stories about family, identity, race and racial identity development. My work is really just about people.
By the way, you can watch those, a lot of those videos are online, like different places that have, and I think at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, you can watch some of those. They're really interesting. I like them.
Okay. These are oil paintings, and there's also other materials that I use. I'm really interested in collage, a hybrid mix of materials. There is textile use. I love quilting. I love sewing.
Woohoo! Hey, look at that!
The way that the gallery...
Hey, did you see that? I didn't see that before.
The way that the gallery...
Wait. Look, there's quilts in the thing. Love it.
The way that the gallery is situated is that you walk into the video room.
I know, M. Sujan. She's so great.
And that's intentional because I want you to hear a voice other than mine first when you walk into the space. As you move into the second gallery, that's when you see the long hall of paintings. You start to think about whose stories have typically been represented or uplifted in painting, especially in a museum setting, and whose stories have been left out.
Oh, yeah, that girl, like on the left side of your screen with the t-shirt, My Sisters Are Warriors, she's one of the people who is, gives a testimonial or speaks on film. So it's really cool because some of the people who are in the paintings, a lot of people who are in the paintings are doing the videos, and it's really, really interesting way to do it.
And then as you reach the end of the space, the second space, there is a bookshelf with different resources for folks that maybe are interested in digging a little deeper. People hear the word race and they get caught on that, and they don't really think about that real human desire to belong and to be in community with others. For me, I never want my work to be made in a vacuum. Like, it is in response to my own lived experiences, but also everything that's going on. So it ends up being these kind of markers of time and place and community, right? I really hope that this show becomes a space for holding all that. It's not a place for answers, but it's more so a place to hold all the questions.
Ugh,
it can be really difficult to open up space to talk about mixedness, but it's so critically important that we do, because it's here. It is. You can't just pretend it's not.
So that show just closed, in October. But she's obviously she's making a name for herself. So watch out for her. She's so young. She's so young. But she's so young. Okay, so Leslie Barlow. Love it, love it. Now, let's go to the United Kingdom. I'm going to go to the United Kingdom eventually. Oh yeah, question. I could take a poll, but we don't have to do it quite so officially. Should we go back to other quilt magazines when we look at these old magazines? Because I have a few of these. I mean, I don't know, that's pretty cool. There's should we be true to culture? No, you're not. No. God, are you sure? Hey, look, quilts in fashion. It's everywhere. Oh boy. Maybe the older ones. It could be fun. You know what? If I have oh wow. I don't know. This is pretty. This could be good. The Unsinkable Millie Brown. It kind of depends. I mean, we'll see. If I find something really good, then maybe I'll just be like, sorry, we got to do it. But there is a purity to Quilter's newsletter. And you know what? Somebody, I think, where was it? Somebody was like, why are all the modern magazines bad? And I realized, Mary Fons, so I made somebody mad about that too. Great, bring it on. I'm beaten. But, it's true. Curated Quilts is a great magazine. And I should mention that because there's a lot of great magazines, but it also doesn't have any ads. So the magazines that I think are really great are low on ads. Quilter's newsletter. I mean, digging deep on one thing, but digging deep on Quilter's newsletter is what we should do. But then eventually, maybe in, 2023 or something, maybe we do we might get tired of it. We might be like, yeah, let's look at something else, and then we will, I'm not switching it anytime soon, that's for sure. But if we ever feel like we want to switch it up, we can do it. Okay, so let's talk about these other quilts today. When I was like, I want to talk about Welsh quilts, these were the quilts that I had in mind. Because I love these quilts. I love these red and blue and gray sometimes and black quilts from Wales. But I know Raffle Waffle says when I saw this quilt, I thought it was Amish. Now, if it wasn't quite so crazy around here, I wanted to pull some Amish quilts up for comparison and things. And also we're going to see a couple strippy quilts. And I was like, I'd like to pull some strippy quilts too to look at. But strippy quilts could be their own thing. What's interesting about the format, like how I set up the screen for this show, at least now, having two things on the screen to compare, it's kind of hard to do. So maybe I think I know how I could do it. But that'd be interesting, comparing strippy quilts from like around the world. That'd be nice. So I'm going to write strippy. Strippy quilt. Strippy quilt challenge. No, strippy quilt survey. So I was thinking about quilts like this. And then when I got into putting things together, I realized that Welsh quilts take many forms. And so there aren't that many quilts like this that I have in the slideshow, but or in the stack. So this quilt, this one comes from, this is the quilt that I used on my Instagram post that I put up this morning. It's a flannel star patchwork quilt, wool, and it's from now Welsh is, there are words from in other languages that are tough. I cannot, I'm going to embarrass myself saying some of these Welsh words because it's just, I think we all know Welsh is like very beautiful and very odd if you're an English speaker, an American, let's put it that way. So I don't know if it's Ceredigion Museum, the Ceredigion Museum owns this quilt. And this one I found online from them. You'll go get the title. Okay, good. So Marianne says, bear in mind the Amish learned to quilt from the English, right? Yes, every other European was English to them. So the influences will overlap considerably. That makes sense. So this one is from this book, Making Welsh Quilts. I have Jen Jones's book, and we're going to take a look at Jen Jones. Actually, you know what, though? Let me show you. Well, I thought I had a desktop thing that has, I pulled the covers of several books. There's a lot of books on Welsh quilts. At least I saw 4, at least, maybe 5, including this one, Making Welsh Quilts by Mary Jenkins and Claridge. This is a book that has patterns in it, of course. But there are others that are really history only, and they're just really great. The book that Jen Jones published, she published with Quilt Mania, the company in France that runs the magazine Quilt Mania. They are great. They are great quilts. Ceredigion. Okay, Ceredigion. I think I got it. Yes, Amish Quilts and the Welsh Connection by Dorothy Ulcer. Yeah, I think, you know what? Let me see something here. I've got my folder. Let me do this. Let me just show. I gotta open this. This is not so difficult. Look at that. So here, this is Jen Jones's book, and you can see. I think this is probably the first book on Welsh quilts I probably saw, because it's got to be, and I have it, but I don't know where it is. It's a crack up over there. I don't know. I've got such a big stack of books, and then a few more downstairs in the storage unit. But there are a lot of quilts like this, these wool quilts, patchwork quilts in this book, from what I can recall. There's this book too, Mary Jenkins. So she's one of the authors of this one too, Little Welsh Quilts Made the Traditional Way. So that's another resource. And then there's this one, A Toey Guide. I don't know. That might be, I know. That might be maybe an exhibit catalog. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love the black, gray, and red, and then like this touch of blue. And I feel like when I look at Amish quilts and Welsh quilts, it's like, yes, there's so many similarities with center medallions and diamonds in a square and all of that, but there is this color scheme to those particular wool Welsh quilts that's just like, wow. To me, it's just extremely Welsh. And then here's another, Welsh Quilts by Jen Jones. And the forward here is by Kate Fassett. And you'll see when I show some pictures of the Welsh Quilt Center that Kate Fassett did an exhibit there, and it was just really, really neat. So we'll look at pictures of that as well. But those are some books. Cool. Let's see. Make sure go back to this. Okay, groovy. Yeah, cool. So this is a quilt from this book, and what I took from this book were these particular quilts, because it's so weird, I couldn't find that many when I was casting about online. And of course I was kind of in a rush, so this is Red Baskets, and it's Welsh flannel. I think I was saying wool. It's flannel. It's flannel. I'm sorry, it's flannel. But flannel's wool, right? Oh God. What is flannel? What is flannel? Is flannel wool? I'm gonna move to your big screen. Okay, good. So you can see bigger. Yeah. Wool. Okay, good. Well, it's flannel, but flannel's wool. See, I knew all along. This quilt is 62 by 76 inches. It was made in 1870, and it is also in the Ceredigion Museum. In their collection. So they're a collecting museum. They have these quilts. Okay, and then this one, sorry, got a little smudgy on that one. I did figure out that the smudge does not have to be on my scanner. It was really a smudge, and I took cleaner to the scanner, and it was fine. But I guess I did a smudge. I got another smudge. This one's interesting. It looks like suiting material. Hired hand quilt. 1880, 70 by 76. And that's suiting material, right? So I can read about this quilt for you. And I haven't read like an overview from this book about Welsh quilts, but I have a lot of different things to read. So perhaps we will we'll get the scoop as we go along. But I might read a little bit from the introduction of this book. Anyway, so this one, I know I love it too. I love it. And remember when we were talking about the cowboy quilts? They were using suiting material too. This is a thing. It's a universal kind of use of these swatches or these remnants. Hired hand quilt. This quilt is in the collection of the Quilt Association at Minerva Gallery, an art center based in Llanidloes, dedicated to the study and collection of Welsh quilts. Exhibitions of quilts and related textiles are held here regularly. Llanidloes is an ancient market town. I'm going to spell it just so you know. Because I'm pretty sure. Okay, that's probably not the way you pronounce it. It's an ancient market town and center of wool production. Oh, almost in the middle of Wales, at the base of the sheep-filled slopes of the Cambrian Mountains, with the rivers Severn and Clwydwedog. I don't want to skip it. That's not nice, but maybe the Welsh people would like me to skip it, the pronouncing this. The rivers Severn and Clwydwedog. It still has its Tudor market hall, where the fleeces were originally traded together with terraces of old weavers' cottages. As the name suggests, this utilitarian quilt, made by the most rudimentary means for the use of farm hands, grooms, and similar workers. This category of staff usually lived in extremely primitive conditions, and a warm quilt was necessary for their well-being. Because of their hard usage, it's rare to find a quilt of this type in such good condition, which is one of the reasons for the inclusion of this example in the collection of the Quilt Association. The other reason is that the cloth from which it was made was manufactured in the mills of that area of mid-Wales. That's cool. Although these quilts were usually made up very quickly, it's clear someone did make some effort to grade and arrange the patches on this quilt. The colors are somber, but it does have a subtle charm. Totally. I love it. Okay, flannel was originally made from carded or worsted yarn. Excellent. It's now made from wool, cotton, or synthetic fibers. Thank you, Google. Indeed. Susan says it's truly amazing how simple forms and color, texture, and arrangement just make a beautiful piece of art. Yeah, it still works, like a frame quilt like this, and it's so simple. I think it's all one kind of patch of fabric. The dimensions of the patches are all the same. The black, I see seams down here. I think the frames are not, long strips, these black pieces here. Yeah, you can tell. They're all the same. They came from the same swatch book, or they came from the same remnant pile, right? They're all the same. And it's like, you think about Beatrice's quilt at the top of the show and how intricate it is, and it's very beautiful. And then there's this one, which is so basic. It's just patches, but it's gorgeous. And the placement of the yellow. Wait a minute, Susan. Let me zoom out. Yeah. The placement of the yellow is ridiculous. So that's 1880, 70 by 76. It's probably really warm too. Pop-ti-ping is the Welsh word for microwave oven. I think that is a good word to know if you are going to Wales, because you need to warm up your tea sometimes, right? Okay, let's take a look at another one. Oh yeah, remember this quilt? I'm so happy that I found a good picture of this, the Tailor's quilt. We looked at this, a while ago when we talked about quilts and fashion. Alexander McQueen, who made fabric inspired by this quilt, which is so famous. It's so famous. It's really, it's got to be one of the most famous Welsh quilts of all time, but it's just internationally famous on its own because I don't need to tell you why it's super famous. So this is about the Tailor's quilt. No book on Welsh quilts would be complete without this remarkable coverlet made between 1842 and 1852 by James Williams, a master tailor of Wrexham. It consists, I'm going to get myself out of here. Hang on one second. There's so much to see on this quilt. Are you ready for this? It consists of 4,525 pieces of woolen cloth, mainly from military uniforms, and its colors reflect their color range, being mainly blue, red, brown, gray, and fawn. Wow. Oh yeah, I can take the chat box down too. Hang on one second. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's really... And Quilt Nerd, let's get it all. You're James Williams. This is the first time this has ever happened, where we got rid of everything, but you have center stage, sir. Okay, I'll zoom out too, of course, soon enough. Look at the checkerboard. Oh my God. It's just crazy. Wow. If I attempted something like this, it would just be a total disaster, chevrons up there and checkerboard down there. And anyway, this wonderful piece includes scenes from the Bible, representations of animals and Welsh landmarks, such as the Menai Suspension Bridge. Oh yeah, there it is. And the Ruabon Viaduct, complete with a crossing steam train. Really? Where is that? Hold on, we gotta find the steam train. There's a little boat. Wow, is that Cain and Abel maybe? Is that maybe someone, I don't know, maybe Cain and Abel, these two figures here? Okay, we'll find the steamboat when we zoom out. I want to get down here over to the side too. It's incredible. I know. It's making me emotional, Kitty Hannah. I know. Same. These steam trains and things, surrounded by panels of geometric patchwork, and on each corner are the emblems of the 4 countries that form the British Isles. The leek, which is Wales, the shamrock, which is Ireland, we can go find them, a rose for England, and a thistle for Scotland. Under the panther is the little steam train. Oh, okay, cool. Get over there. Though meticulously pieced, the tailor's quilt has astonishing freedom in its design. That looks like a little onion. Oh, the leek, it is. Yeah, okay. It's like, that's a scallion. But that's probably the leek, right? Though meticulously pieced, the tailor's quilt has astonishing freedom in its design. And one marvels how these two elements could be combined so successfully. Although James Williams earned his living through precise tailoring work, he was undoubtedly a free spirit with a natural ability to express his creativity. That's probably the thistle, right? Oh, look at the very corner, those wedges. Really incredible. What's this eagle on the animal's back? I don't know. Does anybody in the UK have a sense of that? Or perhaps a Bible it may be one of those Bible references. Oh yeah, there's a steam train. Yep, M. Hicks spotted it underneath the panther. Look at the panther. I mean, it's really, really special. I wonder if they say where this... Okay, so by the way, it's 1852. They may have said that. 82 by 90. Museum of Welsh Life in St. Fagans. Museum of Welsh Life. Cool. I really want to go to Wales before it's too late. There's the English rose up here, upper right. And then... Oh, that's the thistle. This is the thistle. And then what was the other one? The leek? Oh, shamrock. I don't know. Yeah, 1852, Kitty Hannah. What is this eagle? Oh, yeah, what is it holding? What is the eagle holding? I think it was... I don't know. It's holding a deer. It's on the... it's on that animal's back. I'm not sure. Just all these wonderful things. And made out of... Some of the other stuff, okay, Marion says, is from heraldry. It's on the symbol for the United Kingdom, lions rampant and all. Yeah, lions. That's a big thing with the English. Susan says, I watched a lecture with Brian Eno, I assume, yesterday, about the necessity of recovering from stress and injury. Wow. He talked about his installation in a hospital. Susan, I like this comment. We have so much stress and our body reacts to it. We forget to provide healing. Music can bring healing. I heal with quilts. Yeah, same. Molly. I wish Brian Eno would quilt, she says. Yeah, that'd be great. David Byrne should make a quilt, and who else? Who are these guys who should? Werner Herzog. He should make a quilt. That'd be. I'd see it. We'd have it on the show for sure. What if stranger things have happened? What if Werner Herzog ends up being the first guest on this show? I don't know. It would be unexpected. Okay, chat box is back. I hope. It says it's back. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at some others. Now we've got a few more to see, so we gotta... But yeah, if you're gonna linger on a quilt, I reckon the Tailor's Quilt is a good one to choose. This one, the Bow Tie Quilt, this is great. This is from 1880, and the color on the scan, it's really more red. I don't know why the color looks kind of weird. Yeah, it really looks weird. I shouldn't have even shown you the red one because it is superior, but not sure what happened. But it's that, you can still tell. The contrast is very, very there. So the Bow Tie Quilt was made in Llangwrig, about 5 miles from Llanidloes, of locally produced wool cloth, in many different suiting samples. Oh, this is also suiting samples. So cool. It's worked in a bow tie pattern of dark blocks, alternating with blocks of red and black flannel. The red and black blocks give the design cohesion, and the dark blocks, made of many different shades of dark fabric, give a variety of tone that adds to the quilt's overall liveliness. The combination of the two differently colored blocks gives this quilt its dramatic impact. There is no filling in this quilt, just top and backing. It was obviously thought to be heavy enough without adding woolen fleece as wadding, which is batting. It's wadding over there in the UK. Batting, wadding, and the quilting is simple. No attempt has been made to quilt fancy patterns. In this case, the quilter has simply outline quilted each patch. Stitching in the ditch. Again, like the simplest patchwork components. Hey, Stokieware. Hey, you know what? You've got a great point. Coal mining was very big in Wales for centuries. Bet the black helps to not show soot or dust. Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, the mining thing comes into this quite a lot, actually. Jen Jones, I was watching YouTube videos that had been taped, and she talks about that a lot, that the mining was such a huge part of that culture, and women, a lot of the quilts that were made were professionally made. The quilt makers were doing it professionally. But these simple patchwork motifs, it's just half square, it's quarter square triangles and flying geese. Like, you don't have to do anything fancy to make a quilt that is just sublime. And you know what, too? Especially now that you have this show to put on, while you're sewing, just making a bazillion quarter square triangles. It could be tedious. You could see it as tedious. Like maybe if you had to make a quilt under duress, if you had to make a quilt under a deadline or something, you'd be like, I can't make any more of these. This is terrible. Or if there was a part of your quilt you wanted to get to, another design element you wanted to do more than just the quarter square triangles, they could be just torture. But if you made a quilt like this, like that's all it is. Well, and then the flying geese. So it might be just perfect, especially if you're stressed out, just like quarter square triangles, man. Like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm making. I need like 150 of them. It's all good. And that's when I can really zone out if I'm making a lot of one thing, I think it'd be kind of fun. The secondary patterns are fantastic. Yeah, exactly. So and there are patches in here because the black, well, no, they're actually, see, I thought it was just a black patch, but this one's just a very low contrast patch. But I think maybe that's just a patch. That's a square, just a plain square. But by doing it, right, you get these sort of trapezoidal? I don't know. They're like elongated hexagons, these black pieces that are wonderful. They break things up. I mean, I think they're pretty important to the design, don't you? I think they add quite a bit, actually. Yeah, fantastic. So cool. All right. Word and Bernard says, my Welsh grandfather was a coal miner his entire life. If you ever go to Wales, visit the World Heritage Site, the Big Pit National Coal Museum. Oh, wow. I don't know anything about Wales. That's why quilts are so great, because we can learn about it, right? The elongated hexie, you saw it, Susan. You saw it before I did. So this quilt does appear inside the book, but I swear I flipped and I couldn't find it. So I photocopied it from the front of the book. But I included this because you see a lot of hearts in these particular kinds of quilts from Wales. And I wanted to remind you that there's going to be a Valentine's Day special show, a Valentine's Day edition of Quilt Nerd. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of quilts with hearts. I've been marking them as I've found them, and there's such wonderful, sweet little quilts, with these hearts on them from back in the day. And if you should find any heart quilts or love quilts, also including some wedding quilts and things like that, some really just fantastic red or pink, quilts. It's a gimmick for that show, but it'll be really fun. I'll have some cake, probably, some sort of delicious red velvet cake, I suspect. And I don't know, maybe I'll figure out how to have a conversation hearts pop up or something. I don't think that's going to happen. We probably don't need it to happen, but it'll be really fun. And, really, you can pretend, you can see what it's like at the World Heritage Site. You can lay on your side and see what it would be like to dig coal all day. I'm a very lucky woman because I can talk about eating cake instead of doing that. I think about it. I do. I think about, you have to watch the documentary called The Rescue. Has anybody seen this documentary? I cannot recommend it enough. It's been on our list for a long time. I kind of forgot about it. Eric and I watched it the other day. It's a documentary. It's the story of how when those young boys, that soccer team in Thailand, when those boys were trapped in the cave a few years ago, I forget what year. The whole world was watching that these young boys, were they still alive? And they were rescued. And it's the story of the rescue. And just watch it. And how did we watch it? Was it on Amazon Prime? Or I don't think it's on Netflix, but it's called The Rescue. National Geographic produced it, and it is incredible. I really, really think you should see it, and you should just be prepared. I mean it when I say have Kleenex nearby. You oh God. So the mine reminded me of that. It's yeah. Disney Plus. It's Disney Plus. Thank you. Okay. Molly Squared's husband has ancestry in coal country in Pennsylvania. It was grim. So many deaths. Oh, the death index. Oh God. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So Welsh Quilts. Welsh Quilts. Great. Here's one more. Flying Geese and Stars. Yeah, that one's harder. It's got the 8-point star. Not super easy. I mean, I don't know. They're easy if you make a whole bunch of them. You figure out how to make them, but and you know, when I was doing some 6-pointed stars, it's all of that sewing is in London right now. I watched a thing by Jenny Beyer on YouTube, and she said sometimes these things are easier to hand piece than to do on your sewing machine because you have a little bit more ability to, you know, work things around and kind of put them where you need to put them. So that was interesting. 75 by 88 inches. 1870. Okay, I gotta move on. We gotta go. So just a few more of these Welsh quilts. They're not all dark. I found this is a picture from Jen Jones's blog, and this quilt is for sale. Jen Jones, who we'll take a look at next, has a shop in. Gosh, we'll find out. I don't know where her shop is. One of you may know. Gorgeous blues. Yeah, exactly. So they're not all this dark. And this is cotton, you know, obviously. I think obviously. But it's that frame quilt thing again. And look how the frame, wait a minute, doesn't go all the way around, you know? That's allowed. You know, we can do that. We can do that with our quilts. It doesn't have to go all the way around. And it's so interesting because the asymmetry of it, this asymmetry is so embraced by the moderns. So, you know, it just looks so contemporary, really. Ooh, the church built from the Welsh slate in the background. How did I miss a church moment? Welsh slate. Stokey, where you know a lot. You might have said earlier that you have family there or something. I'm trying to remember, but I appreciate these. Oh, you get this. Yeah, you get the graduation, the nerd cue today. Identifying, okay, it's a little bit long. You identified Welsh slate, and that is very nerdy. Good job. So we're not going to talk about this kind of Welsh quilt. So now we're moving on to these other kinds, and I just have two other quilts to look at today, and then we can go back to our lives that are so really exciting. You know, I wonder. By the way, I have to ask: is the video? I mean, is the video still up? Can someone just check and see if the video's still up? And I just feel like it's possible someone else could copyright strike it. I mean, it's definitely possible. I think that would be a bad move if they did, because now there's precedent for the fact that the images are protected. And so if somebody else decided to do it, I think it would probably read as like kind of censoring, trying to not let the video be seen. But is it still up? And, you know, are there just more nasty comments? Sorry. It is on my mind, as you can imagine. It's kind of in the back of my mind. It's still up. Okay, good. So these comfy quilts, this is a kind of quilt that Jen Jones talks about in a few different videos on YouTube. And there's definitely a good amount of YouTube videos where she's talking. There's one really interesting one where it cuts off. It's like, it's just 14 minutes or so, and then it ends. And it's unfortunate. But she has interesting. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys, for looking. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so these are more contemporary. These comfy quilts are sort of whole cloth, and so that's a kind of thing that we're not going to talk about. And then this is a coverlet kind of thing. I think overshot cotton. The overshot thing, I really have to sit down and learn more about because it's time to learn about them. But both of those kinds of quilts we're not going to talk about, those kinds of textiles, because we have to, we got to keep things focused to some extent. So we're going to talk about these whole cloth ones a little bit. These quilts that I've learned from what I am seeing here in my brief, content gathering. These are absolutely as Welsh as the others. As these patchwork, these darker wool patchwork quilts too. So this is a picture from Jen Jones's shop, and we're going to look at her shop. More pictures from there. I think I had one out of order. Okay, sorry. I have one more patchwork. This is another patchwork. Very light colors. Yeah, I meant to do it earlier. Okay. So now, check this out. Look at this. This is a strippy quilt, and it is. I mean, it's not whole cloth because there's two fabrics in it, But this one is, one second. Find this. Where are you? Okay. So I mentioned that as I was looking at things, I learned that there's a difference. There's a big difference between quilts in Wales and quilts in the North Country. So I got a map so we can see this, because as I was looking, Raffle Waffle, I like those too. Oh wow. So and people, there's a good amount of information out there about how people confuse like North Country quilts with Welsh quilts, and that some people call the quilts from the North Country Durham quilts, but in fact that's not really the case. So this is what I mean by I'm like, oh no. So we'll find out together what that is. And by the way, those dots, I placed those dots using my best judgment, using a map that one lady had on her blog, because it was really hard to see her map. So I created that. Don't try to get to Durham using this map. It may not be totally accurate. Okay, now let's go back to this one. So this is a quilt. Excuse me. But Carolyn Gibbs wrote this, and she has a blog, and she wrote about this quilt, and I really liked her pictures. I mean, her pictures are so good, and she has a lot of really good detailed pictures. So I took these images to show you from her blog, and this is a quilt that she calls a double-sided North Country strippy. Okay, and by the way, let me just say this. And this is from another blog, just briefly, the difference between Welsh and Durham quilts. Pippa Moss wrote this, and we're going to take a look at a quilt that she has too in just a second. But Pippa says, the difference between Welsh quilts and Durham quilts, there are many differences. There are differences in many respects. And she says, bear in mind, these are only generalizations, and of course there's exceptions. Sorry. Got a frog in my throat. These are generalizations. and there are always exceptions. Okay. She's like, firstly, Welsh quilts and North Country quilts. Let me see. Let's see. No thumbs down. Oh, yeah. It's just because YouTube took away the thumbs down feature. There would be a lot of thumbs down. I think I can see, actually, in my YouTube studio view. I think I can see. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I will not be distracted again by that. So the quilts, Welsh quilts and North Country quilts, or Durham quilts, were made in different places. So she's like, that's one of the big differences between them. But she says Durham quilts should more properly be termed North Country quilts, as they were made in the counties of Northumberland, Durham, and Yorkshire. So it wasn't just Durham, it was also Northumberland and Yorkshire. So she wants to include those places. I've been to Yorkshire twice. It's so beautiful. This is an area of carboniferous coal measures. Hey, Myra, thanks for following. That's funny. Thank you, I appreciate it. There were numerous, here we go, Stokey's was talking about, we're all talking about coal. This is an area of carboniferous coal measures, and there were numerous mining communities in this area, along with other industries fueled by coal. There was also farming taking place in the countryside. Welsh quilts were, of course, made in Wales, especially in South Wales. Again, coal measures are to be found there. Hey, Kozo4. So good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome. There were mining communities in South Wales, yes, together with many other mining, chemical, and industrial works. Wool and sheep rearing was another major source. Look at this. Isn't this great? Those colors just knock me out. They're so bright. Wool and sheep rearing was a major source of income, as much of the land in South Wales is too mountainous for farming. Due to the cultural differences and the geographical separation, each area, North Country, right, and Wales, had its own styles of quilting. Patchwork, applique, and wool quilts were made. But I shall be illustrating the differences, okay, with whole cloth quilts, which the area became famous for. Okay, look at the quilting on this. It's so cool. It's really great. Okay. Durham quilts became well known for their impressive quilting designs. So this is one of those. This is a North Country. Is that right? Wait a minute. No. This is Welsh. Hang on. I knew that. Hold on. Just a minute. So this is Welsh. This is the Durham. So you can see why, like, people get them mixed up, okay? And because there's a lot of similarities, but they are different. We'll go back to that whole cloth quilt, the strippy one. So Welsh quilts usually have a central motif, which we saw on that one, either a circular coin or a diamond. Wait, I think I was in the right place. No, I was in the right place. Oh, I'm really glad that that's true. Sorry, just a second. Yeah, I'm cool. It's all good. Yeah, this is exactly where we want to be. Welsh quilt. So Durham quilts, lots of feathers and running feather motifs. Yeah, I actually. Yes, it is right. Let me go back to the very first one too, because I want to see this whole thing. Because she's talking about like the motifs and everything. Welsh quilts usually have a center motif, a circular coin, or a diamond. The central area was enclosed by double or triple lines to form a field. Okay, so here's the thing that's really interesting. So she now talks about the strippy quilt. Strippy quilts were found in both areas, but can be easily told apart. This is extremely nerdy. If you come away from this show, if I do, knowing how to tell the difference between a strippy quilt from Wales and a strippy quilt from the North Country, I mean, Durham strippies had quilting designs which followed the strips. With border motifs being used up each strip. We're going to see one. I got a strippy quilt from Durham. This is from Wales, this one. These strippy quilts were economical to make in fabric, easy to seam together, and also easy to mark in the frame. These were the everyday quilts, although this example is especially... No. This is a Welsh strippy, and this Welsh strippy has wider strips than the Durham one that we'll see, and it's filled with wool rather than cotton. More importantly, and this is the key thing, you guys, more importantly, the quilting does not follow the strips. Rather, the top is treated as a whole cloth, and the usual format of central field and surrounding borders is followed. We can see a central field of heart motifs surrounded by tulips and coins and things. So that's really interesting. Both quilts from Durham and Wales are finished with a butt or knife edge, where the edges are simply turned in and sewn down. Wow. Okay, and with Durham quilts, the binding was sometimes done by hand, but more often sewn down with 1 or 2 lines of machine stitching. Interesting. See you, word and bird nerd. Yeah, I know. Oh, good luck to you. Good luck to her, too. I hope it's a good day for her. Yeah. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting that the North Country quilts have quilting that follows the lines of the strippy, but Welsh quilts, they treat strippy quilts as like a whole cloth kind of situation. So this class would be a Welsh quilt. We know it is because the quilting is not, it doesn't follow the strips. This is great. So, by the way, this is the same quilt. It's the back of the one we just saw. It's a 2-sided quilt. Isn't that crazy? Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's wild. Okay. So then the other couple other that I have, that's the same. This one isn't great. This is a Welsh quilt from Jen Jones's blog, and then we're gonna look at Durham quilts, and then I shall release you to your life. that center medallion. I love the coins, and I think what she said, this lady, Carolyn Gibbs at her blog said, hearts, and I think those might be little clovers or something, these little sort of flower petal looking things, but I don't know, the way they're bisected, they seem kind of like hearts to me. I'm not sure, but this is a quilt that's on Jen Jones's blog that would be, I'm pretty sure, for sale. Okay, so now this Durham quilt. Let's take a look at what those look like. So that's this one. And I mean, I found these. Oh, yeah. Okay, so if it's not strippy, so having the quilting be different on the strippy quilts, that's strippy specific from what I understand. So it doesn't mean that Durham quilts or quilts from the North Country don't have, quilting designs that are, sort of an all over whole cloth quilting design. It's not like they always are making quilting designs in strips or in lines. So this Kimberly Wolfert and Mary S. in their blog. It's like a paper, I think, from Antique Quilt Dating. It's a really long article, but it's called "A Durham Quilt or Not." And wow, it's pretty dense. I mean, it's great, but it's pretty dense. Durham is both a town and county in northeast England, referred to as the North County region. Professional quilters, okay, this is good. Professional quilters were employed there, and it's long been associated with beautiful quilting. Zoom in on that. These quilts are made from one piece of fabric, 2 or 3 widths sewn together to look like one. Okay, that's interesting, because, oh dear, tornado warning, that's crazy. That's crazy. I hope you stay safe. Exactly. So, yeah, the whole cloth thing. I mean, I suppose if I thought about it, it would be obvious that there are several lengths of cloth sewn together to look like one big piece of fabric. But, it's like, I don't know. Maybe they made really big, really wide, pieces of fabric. Or that, maybe it is one single piece of fabric. We could make pretty big pieces of fabric today. But, whole cloth quilts are actually multiple pieces of the same fabric sewn together. Oh, Stokeyware says Durham Cathedral is in the Harry Potter films. Very atmospheric. That's cool. Yorkshire is the Bronte, the world of the Brontes, the land of the Brontes. It's totally atmospheric. That's a very good word for it. Kind of spooky at times, Wuthering Heights. They're not patchwork, these particular quilts, and the quilting is the only adornment. Yeah, totally. Oh, look at that. This is a Durham quilt, and the quilting is contained within the strips. I'm so glad there's an actual example of that. I'm glad that made it in there as I was flying around putting these things together. It's really interesting. We have an example. North Country stayed in the lines with the quilting when it was a strippy quilt, and then the Welsh Quilts didn't, with strippies. Let's see. These quilts, okay, certain geographical areas are known to emphasize particular quilt patterns. I wanted to know if this was true in Durham, and if so, what would distinguish them for other quilts in the region. So in the January 2004 Nine Patch News issue, she shared what she found out, she says, and shared about several quilts. I know, I love the quilting motifs as well. And you know what? Just what we read before from Caroline, she said, the Gibbs reading about the Welsh quilts and the difference, she said feathers, right? And so here's feathers on these quilts. I mean, this is a really nerdy show. This is particularly nerdy. Sometimes the Quilt Nerd show is kind of like the quilt fangirl show where we're just like, I love that, that's so amazing, oh my god. But this one is like, this is deep cuts here, and I love it. Good job, everybody. We've all won the Nerd Award today. So yeah, this is interesting. So she's really, okay, ooh, look. The North Country style of whole cloth quilt patterns developed from the early structured frame quilts, medallion in American terms, Over time, they become looser in their layout, but kept the center point of focus. In around 1870 to 1880, in the north of England only, there was a, quote, virtual abandonment of the central motif and border style and an introduction of feathered motifs. Princess feather, yep, northeastern quilting tradition. Look at these feathers. It's true. It's really true. And I didn't know that we would discover this, right? It was like, okay, these are definitely North Country quilts. These are definitely Welsh quilts. I'll put them into these 2 buckets. And thank God, they know what they're talking about. Just really interesting. The feathers, yeah, and they do say here it's impossible to tell for sure. I mean, there's always exceptions. But yeah, I mean, the feathers were, look at this, the feathers. Feathers are great. Yeah, it's so beautiful. They really are. I've never, whole cloth quilts are not usually what I gravitate toward because I love fabric and I want to see lots of different kinds. But they're pretty cool. Oh, and this is important. Jen Jones talked about this, and Jen will be next, and we'll close out with her. Although, oh wait, hold on. A cottage industry of professional pattern makers and markers emerged around World War I. They marked quilt patterns on the tops for the quilt maker to quilt. Oh wow, you could hire someone to just mark your quilt. That's interesting. I don't think we do that now, do we? I've never heard of it. Some of these designing women were known by their particular design, so much so that a trained eye could identify the designer by looking at the quilt. I've heard about this before in New England as well. For more information, Lillian can describe, one of these experts, describe the templates that were used to mark the pattern. Outer border, large cable, small inner border, spectacles, corners, fans, central field, large Prince of Wales feathers, diamonds, and so forth. That's pretty interesting. That's interesting. The experts agree the term Durham quilt has been overused and at times incorrectly used by dealers and quilters to describe any quilt made in northeastern England. Yeah, and in reality, there's no such thing as a Durham quilt, as the style and templates, that's the last picture there, are common right from the borders of Scotland down to the middle of Yorkshire. Okay, and then there's this. Look at this. So this is a North Country quilt. I wanted to get one more example. Isn't that wild? It's so neat with the ruffle on it, but it's, we know now that it would be everyone, North Country, because it's a strippy quilt with those sovereign quilting designs. It's just great. You know what's interesting? Like, if I ever wanted to make a whole cloth quilt, I think I would allow myself to do a strippy, and call it a whole cloth quilt, or just be like, it's close enough. Because I think for like a first time out, wouldn't it be easier to kind of take one row at a time, and be like, okay, I'm going to work on this one row. I'm not going to worry about with my medallion and making it even and stuff. You could really stay in truly a lane, and then kind of go piece by piece. So yeah, really neat. And we saw those templates in that book on Tuesday, or those markers. Oh, look at that! That's so great. Those quilting templates. Remember the metal things that everybody wanted to like put in their house as decor. Okay, so yeah, just really great. And now we know the difference between North Country and Welsh quilts, and we know that here we go. This is what I want. We know that it shouldn't be Durham, it should be North Country. Okay, so here are these books, and then we're gonna meet Jen Jones here. This is Jen Jones, and a really cute dog. This is a picture that's a little bit older. So when Jen Jones first arrived in Wales in 1971, she found a land where the Welsh woolen mills no longer produced vast quantities of their remarkable narrow loom blankets for the world's markets. Driven out of business by the soulless and ubiquitous duvet, oh my, those industrious craftswomen, the Welsh quilters, had also stopped making their practical and original quilts. Imbued with her native New England respect, for the heritage of quilt making, Jen Jones knew she couldn't restart these industries, but she could, and did, rekindle national and international appreciation of these artifacts. Since her creation of the shop over 30 years ago, I think it's been even longer now. Jen has gone on to support and manage the foundation of the Welsh Quilt Center in Lampeter, which offers visitors a unique opportunity to see some of the world's finest quilts, each year set into a different context. She also speaks passionately on the subject all over the world. I think, Marianne, I think you said earlier, Jen Jones is Welsh Quilts. 1,000% she is. And so she has a shop, as they said, in Lampeter. Or no, is that right? That's where the Welsh Quilt Center is. And I have some pictures of the Welsh Quilt Center here for you. Oh, and then, oh my God. So I found this article in something called the Women's Room blog. It's called the Women's Room, and it was from 2010, and it's called Quilt Envy, the Jen Jones Welsh Quilt Center. And listen to this, quote. So, as we mentioned previously, it's an exciting time for us nerdy quilters. Or maybe just, I don't know. She says nerdy quilters. And the way the article ends, just in case I don't read the whole thing, or we don't need to read the whole thing, there's a huge amount of quilts for sale, too. For those who can't be bothered with the patching and sewing bit, altogether an excellent place to visit. We're hoping to get to the V&A exhibition this weekend, so quilty nerds, watch this space. Done. I love that. So, okay, so this is Jen Jones. This is from inside of her shop. I found this on TripAdvisor, I think. Someone had posted a visit to the shop. Yeah, the house exterior is so sweet, so cute. Let's see. Oh no, Kelly, your laptop is dead. That's terrible. Oh no. I think the storm. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it, but we had tons of snow yesterday in Chicago. And there's no snow today, but the wind is howling. I mean, it is absolutely howling. This is a picture of the Welsh Quilt Center. So Jen Jones is responsible for this. So I'm going to read from this fellow quilt nerd here. When in Wales, we came across another amazing quilt exhibition tucked away in rural Lampeter, the newly opened Jen Jones Welsh Quilt Center, with its cute shop and simply stunning collection of antique quilts. Oh, cool. Marianne says that the Jen Jones, or the shop, posts to they post to Instagram a lot. That's great. So you should follow her. This is a picture of inside the shop. Oh, I really want to go here. Look at that black and white quilt. That's so cool. I really like that. Oh yeah. And this little tied quilt too is great. Yeah, I could do some damage in there. That's not good. I don't want to go there at all. I'll never go there. I'm not going. Don't make me go there. Are those ice skates? Yeah, I'm buying those. Okay. Jen and her architect husband have refurbished the Old Town Hall in Lampeter to provide a proper home. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, proper home for the Welsh quilts she's been collecting and championing since her move to the UK in 1971. Yeah, she's originally from the US. I didn't know that. You can eat in the sweet little restaurant next door too. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm still scared of Omicron. I don't know. QuiltCon's freaking me out. I don't think I'm gonna wear sweatpants, you guys. I gotta make that change. I mean, I think after everything that's happened, I think I better not wear sweatpants. I think that would be a bad idea. I think I should just go with like basic black. And I mean, these look, I haven't even done anything with these glasses since I tried them on for you. I mean, I think I need to keep a lower profile. Not that I'm afraid. Since the video's up, I think you agree, don't you? And it's not because I'm like, I mean, I think I would feel not good. I don't think it would be comfortable at all. Maybe I'm just gonna go exactly. Maybe I'm just gonna go with like a smart blouse and some sensible shoes. Cute shoes, but sensible shoes. I'm not doing the other thing. Okay, so here's a couple more. Hey, where are you? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Here we go. High heels, little black dress, red lipstick, and a whip. Myra, I love it. Oh, look at you. Thrilled. I've got one. Actually, I don't have a whip, but let Okay. So here's Jen Jones. She charged the important. No, sorry. This is this article. Jen Jones charged the importance of very high quality. By the way, look at this gallery. It's fabulous. Oh, I got to get out of the way because I mean, check this quilt out. It's bananas. It's awesome. She charged the importance of very high quality quilting to the local Welsh woman as a source of much needed income, albeit a small one, in the 1800s, when there was very little to do but sew in Wales. Fabric from the East India Company, oh wow, very interesting, would find its way via the busy Welsh docks to quilters, who would sew complex patterns around the strongly colored paisleys and prints. This quilt is ridiculous. Look at this thing. Wow. I love the way they have it displayed. It probably has to be displayed that way because it's quite heavy, I'm sure. But I love it. I love looking at it like that. A cooperative, okay, would then take the quilts that these women had made to London and other big towns to present to retailers. So cool. There are simple patch quilts here too. Surely the ultimate in recycling project, which are made of dress fabrics and shirts that would have been cut up when worn through at the elbows and collar and given a new lease on life as quilts. It made us want to dash home and start sewing. And if this wasn't enough, Jen is also one of the world's leading experts in Welsh blankets, which she sells in her specialist shop down the road from the exhibition. And this is where it gets nerve-wrackingly exciting. She sells them online too, where there are many, I love the person who wrote this article, where there are many gorgeous antique quilts to choose from. Try resisting the photos. And then, yeah, they're like, quilty nerds, watch this space. So this is a picture from the K. Fassett collab. And Kelly, that's awesome. Kelly says, I have some orphan blocks if you want to shock the folks at QuiltCon and make yourself a hoodie for your lecture. I mean, it would be, oh no, maybe I better stay away from trouble. Oh wait, I want to come back. Where am I? Woo. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I want people to wear what they want to wear. And like, I mean, when I see people in quilt coats, like, I hope they know that I'm not like, you know, it's not like that. It's not like that. But I think they're going to feel like, screw you. And I'll have to surprise them by being like, I'm not upset. I don't know. Yeah, this quilt is really, really beautiful. And I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry I don't have more on the K. Fassett exhibit. We'll talk about K. Fassett at some point, you know? I mean, that'll take like a bunch of different shows. I love this one up here. I don't have more on the K. Fassett show at the Welsh Quilt Center, but, you know, there's a lot more about it. I mean, I figured, you know, that we had enough here today. And it's kind of a diversion anyway from the Welsh Quilt thing, but this looks gorgeous. I want to go to this... Amen, Marianne. I want to go to the center. I mean, it's a museum just for Welsh quilts. It's so great. I wish there was a strippy quilt that we could see so that we could show off our nerdiness and determine if it was North Country or Welsh. This is amazing. Look at this one on the side. I mean, look, the leaves and stuff. Fabulous. Is that it? Yes, I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Okay. Well, that's the show, y'all. Let me get back to this and get big again. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I you know, was so nervous before just because it's weird. But it's wonderful. It's a haven, really, not anything I need to be afraid of. But it's a live show, so you never know what'll happen. And the next show is tomorrow. And so maybe somebody's already got a message for me in the Discord about scanning an issue of Quilter's newsletter from 1999. So I'll figure that out, and we'll be set for tomorrow night, no matter what, because my mom can bail me out if I need her to. But I would have gotten my own copy, but things got a little weird this week. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, and I'll talk more about it specifically, the giveaway, that we're doing a giveaway for subscribers. And I'll also keep working at this to make this really clear about the tier subscription plan. what it means. I need to do the trailer for Twitch. Just a lot of stuff, but I love doing this. It is my favorite thing. And so all of my time is like spent like on this, you know. I'd love to make more videos for YouTube, but it's like, look, I got a lot of stuff to figure out for this show. So that always comes first for me. Hey, Christine, you are welcome. It is my pleasure. It is a safe space, Myra. I love you too. I really do. I mean, I really love you guys. I like to say you folks or you people, but sometimes, I mean, I'm from Iowa. I love you guys. Yeah, I'm going to say guys. I don't know. Take care. And yeah, I'm going to have wine tomorrow, and I'm going to have cake on Valentine's Day. That's just the way it's going to be. Hey, Robin's Nest. Okay, I'll see you later, everybody, and be safe, please. And I'll see you on the Discord. So nice to be able to hang out there right now. So don't be a stranger. Okay. All right. Bye.